Hello, I'm Andrianne Philippou, the editor of Lube magazine, and I'd like to welcome you to the next in our series of podcast interviews, In Conversation With. Today, I'm delighted to introduce Petra, the General Manager of OilDoc Academy, who's joining me to tell us a little bit more about her journey into the world of lubricants, the role of the Academy, and what we can expect this year at the OilDoc conference, which is being held on the 17th to the 19th of November in Rosenheim. Thank you for joining us, Petra. It's lovely to have you here.
Welcome, Adrian. Thank you. I'm happy to be here and join you in that podcast. And yes, our OilDoc conference is planned in November. So
okay, lovely.
All fingers crossed.
Yes, absolutely. I think we're all every day crossing our fingers, aren't we, everyone? Yeah. Okay, well, let me begin with my initial sort of question to you. As the General Manager of OilDoc Academy, which I understand you established in 2013, I'm interested to know how you actually began your journey into the world of lubricants before then. Can you tell me a little bit about how you found yourself working in this industry?
Yeah, actually, the world of lubricants is always been in my blood because I'm coming out of a lubrication family. My dad was working as a salesman for Optimal for I think 20 years or something, and was traveling all around the world and selling oil and everything. And also during this time, we joined him and traveled around. And in 1991, he and my mother, Barbara, they decided to establish oil analysis in Europe with an independent laboratory. And so they founded the first independent laboratory for oil analysis. And that was a lot of work. They started only the two of them and had maybe 2 or 20 samples a day. And now 30 years later, they are working over 100 people here at the laboratory and analyzing oil analysis. We get roughly 2,000 samples a day.
So actually, what you're saying is your parents were quite pioneering, actually. They were quite the visionaries of the time. And it seems it's a fascinating history that you come from then, if they established the very first laboratory analysis business within the industry. So how did that impact on you growing up as a young girl? What was that like in your household?
Yeah, when they founded OilDoc, I was 12 years old, so just a teenage girl. And my younger brother, he's 2 years younger. We tried to help our parents in that time and got some pocket money by working in the laboratory and making the samples ready for sending and pitching everything. And my parents worked a lot. They were still my mother's now 73 and she still comes to the office every day. My father starts to calm down, and we've been in this business and traveled around and got together. We went to business shows and tried to make OilDoc more visible for the industry, you know.
So were you interested in chemistry and the sciences, or is it fair to say that did you have a choice? I mean, were your parents expecting you to always be a part of the bigger picture, which is what they had created, or were you able to, I mean, for example, when you finished school, you know, did you always want to just stay in the same industry, or did you have a yearning to spread your wings and do other things?
Yeah, in the beginning, when I finished school, I was not interested in doing anything with lubricants. I wanted to make more creative stuff, and I started working at an advertising company in Munich. But there in the beginning, I didn't earn so much money. So I only worked there for 4 days. And one day I always made all the marketing stuff for OilDoc because I learned all the graphical programs. And so still one day of the week was for OilDoc, and I said, okay, that's enough. I don't want to do that anymore. But within the years, I realized, okay, it's interesting. And yeah, I met my husband when I was 20, and after he finished his studies, he also went into the lubrication business and lubrication everywhere. And so then I found this this special branch where I said, okay, that is something that's interesting for me, this training stuff. And OilDoc established the first training on lubricants and lubrication and the importance of condition monitoring, proactive. And I said, okay, in this part of the business, that could be where I find myself.
So in actual fact, everything you've done, I mean, obviously as a young teenager, understanding and working alongside your parents, you and your brother, and then you kind of go through high school and then you try your hand with graphic design and with developing the skill set for creating marketing materials and understanding all the software for design, etc. And then you've kind of come full circle, if you like, and gone back to your roots, one can say, but with all the additional skills and benefits of being able to market your own academy, which is essentially what you're now doing, isn't it, with the programming of the conferences and the academy as an institution that's educational and sharing information for the industry and about the industry. So you're kind of very well rounded. So do you have a family, Petra? I haven't actually asked you if you have children of your own, yourself and Stefan, isn't it, your husband? Because I'm just wondering if you're going to have this empire of children growing up that are also involved and interested in lubricants.
Yeah, I actually have 3 kids.
Oh,
they are now 6, 11 and 13. So
okay. And are they growing? Are they developing and showing an interest and a passion for this industry or for sciences? And
yes, they are interested, in fact, and they also for the last conferences, for example, they have been here at my company and helped me with preparing all the bags and all that stuff.
Oh, okay, lovely.
And the layers and everything. So, and my daughter says, okay, I want to work with you in your academy, and my son says, okay, I want to go more in the laboratory. There's more money to earn.
Well, do you know, that's really
the academy.
Because I think for you, one of the things I was fascinated by when you were telling me earlier on about your parents and mum and dad set up this OilDoc company in Germany. I mean, I think as a role model, certainly being a woman in this industry, and I'm still it's been 3 years, but I still feel a real novice actually on many levels, because you know, I'm not a scientist, but I have been very involved in communicating with scientists, and through my editorship of Lube magazine, I'm learning more and more every day. But I find it fascinating that more and more women now are coming through into this industry. And one of the overriding very important elements is mentoring and role models for women, and to help encourage the younger generation, if you like, to come into the sort of STEM subjects. And from what you're saying, you had your mother as your visionary, if you like, and your role model. You are now in turn being that person for your own daughters. So I find that a great way to complete the circle, really, and keep encouraging more diversity, more inclusivity in this industry. Is that something you're very aware of and interested in?
In fact, for me, this thinking starts right now, because when I was a younger girl, I never thought about this diversity stuff, because my mother always was such a strong woman, and she never would say anything that you can do this because you're a girl, or you can do this sport, or you can do this trip or anything because you're a girl, or you're not allowed to go out alone because you're a girl. She was so independent and such a strong woman that I I realized how unique this was even 40 years ago, that she is so strong in that business. And I think I can do the same thing for my daughter, because I'm raised like this, that I go skiing with my kids, and I taught them how to bicycle and all that stuff.
I hear this quite regularly, actually, within the industry. I think it's really interesting. I think culturally there are some areas where certain cultures, it's not the norm for 40 years ago for the women to have been raised exactly as their fathers were, or their brothers are, or any of that sort of balance, really. And I think that's really interesting, because I think the barriers are breaking down. But for you, clearly it was never an issue anyway. It was just, that's how it was. It was a very unique, I would say, environment of the time. And I think it's almost as if 40 years down the line, we're still having to adjust and balance that. But for you, it's never been an issue at all, from what you said. So it is quite a privileged position, I think, but also a really interesting one, because I think just assuming this is normal, I think, is a really strong way to ensure that barriers are broken down anyway. There's no reason why women and young girls can't start exactly where and achieve exactly what men can, the other sort of genders and things. So I think that's a really interesting element of the way you've been raised. And obviously, from what you're saying, your daughters won't feel any sense of being different at all. It's just, this is how it is, and get on with it. So are they very, in terms of as a family, they're very happy to help then, from what you're saying, with your role and your work? And are they attending some of the conferences? Are they sort of being able to share that time with you as well?
My daughter has been the girl who picked out the lottery
okay.
at the ending of one of the conferences. But
okay.
Normally I would bring them with me traveling or something, and they need to go to business dinners or something with us. So, and they know, okay, if it's a business lunch, be very polite and eat, sit
excellent.
straight, and and if they are willing to help, it's all about the money, huh? If they get enough pocket money.
Right. Yeah, no, I think you're right. Pocket money is always good. It's a good incentive, isn't it? So tell me, when you first started the academy then, and how did you involve the industry? How did you market to the industry? Was there a need anyway, and you were providing the needs? There was a demand, and so you were fulfilling it, or did you make the demand necessary? If
in fact, it was, we are offering seminars since 1996, so longer than the academy was built. And that was because Ölçek sent out the lab reports with the values and with the comment and everything. And then the customer said, hey, I want to know more. You have a comment, which is very useful for our Ölçek customers. They always have a comment, and they have this traffic light system with green, yellow, red. If your used oil is still in good shape or not. And then there's the FTR spectra and everything. And then the customer said, hey, I want to know what means this graphs, and what about the trend analysis. And so they asked for it, and then we established the first training seminars. First, lubrication and oil analysis for hydraulics, lubrication and oil analysis for gear oils and for engines and all the different stuff. And we started with with 5 or 10 seminars a year, and then in 2013 I took over as general manager, and then we tried to make more this certification courses for CLS, for MLA, more special courses, with the webinars right now and video training and blended learning.
So
and the idea of the conference was something that my father said. Okay, he said we need a platform where we can bring together the lubrication guys and the engineers, the people that are using the lubricants. So not only as a pure lubrication conference, we need the platform for exchanging. And that was the idea of the first conference in 2011. And that worked quite well.
Okay, so and since then it's every year, isn't it, the OilDoc conference that you host?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years. And your clients, your customers can be within the automotive, within the industrial lubricant sector, right across the board.
Yeah, we have from all the different industries everywhere where lubricants are used. The customers are interested in this theme, because at universities you don't learn much about lubrication or tribology and the importance of the right lubricant for your machinery. So we also have special seminars for people who are constructing machines, and of course the people that are selling the oil, that the big lubrication companies that want the younger industry. We have a special series where we just focus on the basics of lubricants and give them some points how to sell your oil better to your customer.
Okay, so this last almost 2 years with the pandemic must have been quite disruptive in terms of your ability to host the event, obviously, and be able to generate your seminars, etc. Have you had to adapt your way of informing and your own way of presenting what you offer at the Academy to your clients? How have you managed to adapt to the pandemic over the last year or two?
Yeah, of course, we started with making every seminar as a live stream.
Okay.
So when the pandemic started, we first thought, okay, maybe for half a year or something. Didn't expect it to last it that long. We first tried to make the dates later. We said, okay, not now in spring, but let's make it in autumn, and first postponed everything. And then when we realized, okay, postponing is not an option anymore, then we made ghost seminars where we made live streaming of the seminars, and we make shorter webinar series and made a blended, we established a new platform for online registration, invested there. We tried to make more on social media, make us more visible for the customers, but of course many companies had other problems than focusing on education at that time, and we still seeing that point that everybody is struggling keeping his business running and don't have much time and strength to go for education.
And
now it starts for the months after the summer pause. It starts improving and getting on a equal level like before, but the last 2 years it was half.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So obviously, as you said right at the outset, fingers crossed, because next OilDoc conference is scheduled for the 17th of November to the 19th. Am I right in thinking this will be a hybrid event, Petra?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we hope that as many people as possible can come and join us in person, of course, in Rosenheim. At our venue, we will have established there all the safety standards. We have a caterer that will help us there, and we have a very good event team to make everything safe. And we will have roughly 70 presentations in 3 parallel sessions, and all presentations will be broadcasted via live video. So for everyone who will not be able to join us, can join the presentations via our conference app live. And he will also have the possibility to interact over the app, and he can ask also questions with the app to the presenter. And he will have the possibility to make live video appointments with other participants and also with the exhibitors that are on our venue. So it's a little bit more than the normal virtual conferences that I visited the last month, where you mainly see the pre-recorded presentations because you are live in that. And we also plan that in the evening event and during the breaks that someone of my team will go around with Facebook live stream and also will give some of the atmosphere for the virtual participants that will not be able to come.
So it's going to be quite an interactive approach then. And from what you're saying, there's going to be a lot of engagement with the audience that you do have, and also with the virtual guests that you're going to have, who are going to be attending through the live stream or watching. And
and we want to make it very flexible so that you, until 1 week before the event, you will be able to change your registration from virtual to in-person, or from in-person to virtual, that if you want to come or realize, okay, it's possible now, I get the green light from my chiefs, you can also come very short-term. We try to make it as flexible as possible and hope that we get a good crowd together. Right now it looks I'm positive.
Okay, excellent. And as you know, we have to be positive because the vaccination programs are going at full speed, and a lot of progress has been made. So we have to just look forward and hope that everything's going to be relatively normal, as much as is possible. So in terms of the content and in terms of the topics, what are the hot topics at the moment in terms of the industry, as far as you can see it, having been so involved and through your career within this industry?
We realized for this conference we had many presentations on lubrication for e-mobility. E-cars and all that branch. And then of course we also have this sustainability, how to make our industry more sustainable and find new ways in that part. And of course also the condition monitoring, improving of your proactive maintenance concepts.
And are you finding more and more of your clients, customers, your stakeholders, are they more engaged in these topics, in condition monitoring, for example, as a means to make lubricants work more efficiently in terms of testing and the equipment that they're using, the process that is being used? Are people within your client base much more engaged in economy, fuel economy, lubrication economy, and actually improving the way lubricants work?
Yeah, and what they are also interested in is in making everything in a good concept. That if you have oil sensors is also a hot topic. And what to do with the data that you collect with the sensors, how to bring it together with the data that you become from the laboratory, and how to make with KI, with intelligent systems, the best out of it, and bring everything together and get it.
So is that an integrated part of what, from what you're saying, it's the AI, it's the augmented information and the digitalization. So that's a big part. It's an adjunct, if you like. It's working very closely with all the analysis that you're doing, all the testing that's going on, to make sure that the right statistics, the right analyses are being offered. As it's an information gathering process, isn't it? From what you're saying then. And that's a big part of how the lubricants industry is developing, from what you're saying, which is fascinating. I think sort of 3 years ago, the idea of digitalization was a bit scary for a lot of companies and businesses. I think now they have really embraced that. So that
you see all the young people coming, and they are the digital natives. They are grown up with this, and
exactly.
they bring new ideas to the industry. And I think it's very interesting because you have the older people that try to open their mind for that, and you have the young ones that are naturally grown up with this. And
yeah, it's interesting. So we're learning constantly, aren't we? And as you say, the new blood that's coming in, or the youngsters, they take it. It's just it's almost in their DNA. So what they're doing is very natural for them. And so, but you must have seen that through your journey within this industry, from how your parents started and what you've moved and developed with over the years. And now the young people, as you say, coming into the industry, and just it's normal for them, isn't it? This whole new digital sort of platform that they can work with. No, it's fascinating. So, okay, well, obviously you're very interested in taking registrations for the event for November. We've obviously spoken about that. So is there anything else you would like to add for the audience that may be attending?
I think it will be the first bigger event for the industry in this year, and we have a very good program together, and we will have a big Bavarian evening. We have to find another location because right now it's the vaccination center where we had our last Bavarian evenings, but we found another location. So we will have some beer mugs for everyone, and good Bavarian food, Bavarian music. So a little bit of Bavarian lifestyle and celebrating will also be part of this conference.
And I think we're all at the point where we need a little bit of celebration in between the hard work, because it's been a very difficult couple of years. So that sounds very exciting. So, well, on that lovely note, Petra, I'm going to say thank you so much to you for joining me today and for sharing a little bit more about your beginnings in the industry and how OilCheck and the Oil Academy have sort of moved on. And we look forward to seeing more about the conference later on this year in November. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Adrian.
It's my pleasure.